Thank you, Al. Thank you. And I heard every bit of that introduction. So, and I appreciate you saying those things about me. I think this is probably, after this presentation, you might see it in hindsight, but this is a big step that we're doing today towards creating this. This is a huge step, as I see it. Whoever's here is here, and you're a part of it. So I'm going to get straight into it. How many of you here are struggling day to day, just reacting, trying to make sense of what life throws your way? Thank you. How many of you here, for you, it's just a smooth ride? You get up and life is just a smooth ride every day, one after the other?
Yeah, no.
All right, excellent. And how many of you here just turned up and you don't actually know what you're doing here? You're looking around going, who are these people? Excellent. Whatever your reason for coming here today, I acknowledge you and thank you for being here today. My name is Harsha A.B. Senarathan, and today I'm going to be talking about systems in life and business. I'd like to, once again, thank you for coming along today. I know it takes a lot to take a day out of your life and to focus on your personal development, and I really acknowledge and appreciate you for doing that today. I'm just going to put up the slides. You'll still see me, but to a lesser extent in the corner. What will we cover today? What we'll cover is you'll learn from today, you'll learn the concepts of seeing what happens in your life and business from a high level perspective, and to utilize that concept of systems to drive your life forward, to create more of what you want and less of what you do not want or what does not serve you. So before that, I didn't mean to jump to that slide. Is it okay if I tell you a little bit about myself? So, okay, starting from when I went to college, I got the grades fairly easily. Went to uni, found it a little bit more difficult as I had to motivate myself to, do the assignments, do the homework, etc. I started working. I found it impossible after my first job of 2 years to stay in a single job for more than a short period of time. Got married. Found it difficult to maintain a healthy relationship. As you do, you get some loans. You get married, you get your job, you get some loans. I found it hard to pay them on time. I don't know if anyone can relate to that. Yeah. Started a business. I couldn't maintain the customer service. What I discovered is there was a pattern in life and business. My job was to be the detective and notice them. Even better, once I knew what these patterns were, I could work with them rather than fight them. So with that, we're going to get into the presentation. Before we start, to get into the crux of it, I'd like to turn to your partner to your right and just give him a big smile and say, how you doing? And if they're not smiling or they're looking at you funny, just smile harder. All right. So what is a system and why do we use them? So I looked up Google and this is what it comes up with, right? A system is a set of things working together as part of a mechanism or interconnecting network of complex whole. All right, great. So what does that mean? What does that mean? Firstly, it makes it easier. A system basically makes it easier for us to derive an outcome, right? So when we go to do something or we want an outcome, we don't need to go and try and figure things out every single time. We have a set of steps that we follow, and if we follow those set of steps, we can, with a certain degree of predictability, if you want to call it, know that that outcome is going to have a result. We don't have to try and figure it out each time. You can also, at a later point, delegate that activity to someone else. And as part of that delegation, those people might actually enjoy doing that. They might be faster, they might be more competent at doing that than yourselves. And finally, you can look to automate those activities as well. So right now, what I'd like you to do, and Alice, if you can please facilitate this, just take 2 minutes to get your pad out and write down some of the systems that you might use in your life or business.
Including the one we're using to write on.
Yes. I didn't fully understand that question. You might need to repeat that.
You said Luke's awesome, so is Harsha.
Thank you. At this point, we might have some music if we had it, but that's fine. Someone can sing. All right, so maybe about another 30 seconds. So just write down, it could be examples of systems might be financial, the well-being systems you might utilize.
Still a minute in, Harsha.
Sorry?
I'm facilitating. I'm over a minute to go.
Excellent. Thank you.
That's fine, Harsha.
Excellent. Thanks, Alistair. Thank you for that. What I'd like you to do now is turn to your partner on your right-hand side. And if there's no one on your right-hand side, turn to your partner on your left-hand side. And I'd like you to share a couple of the systems that you utilize. And then after you've done that, just swap with each other. Take about a minute to do that, please. Okay, excellent. So I heard I could hear some names of systems being called out. But what I'd like you to do, I'd like maybe one or two of you just to volunteer right now, and let me know what are some of the systems that you use. Google, excellent.
Calendar.
Evernote.
Yep. Anyone else?
Trello.
Sorry, I missed that one.
That was Trello.
Trello, thank you.
Asana.
Great, thank you.
Zero.
Excellent. All right. Sorry.
Voice to text.
Voice to text. Yep. Excellent. So, there's a number of different systems out there. There's financial systems, banking, budgeting, debt management. These are the IT types of systems. There's well-being systems. Your exercise routine, I would call a system. If you go for a jog, then go for a swim, come back, go to the sauna. That's still it's a series of steps that you follow. Marketing, social media systems, lead generation, cold calling, warm calling, your relationships or your customer management system. So we're going to be looking at this at a higher level today. And I would like to redefine the way, I would like you to have some faith and redefine the way you look at systems. And we define them into two main categories. However, we look at these relative to your life and your circumstances at this point in time. Okay, so depending on where you are, they could be negative or positive. I'm not going to judge. But what we're going to do today is say there's two types. There's a negative outcome system and a positive outcome system. So what is a negative outcome system? Simply put, this is a system that outputs or results in a consequence that does not provide a net benefit to you in your life or business. What does this mean? In simple language, is that the systems that you have in place in your life right now that are negative outcome systems brings you more shit, right? You turn the tap on, the shit flows effortlessly. You don't need to try. You wake up and the shit is there. Now, having put that very simply, I want you to have a look at an example of a negative outcome system. You go to work Monday to Friday. Now, this is the extreme example, but I want you to look at it anyway. You go to work Monday to Friday. You get paid at the end of the week. You go to the casino, gamble. There's no money for living or saving. You borrow the money to survive, and you're left with a feeling of lack and scarcity that things just happen to you, and you create more of what you focus on. Now, having given this definition of a negative outcome system, what I'd like you to do is have a turn, take a couple of minutes now, and Alistair, if you can please facilitate, I want you to write down a single negative outcome system that you are allowing in your life right now. So I want you to write down the heading and the steps that you follow. All right, so I hope you wrote down an example of a negative outcome system that you're utilizing in your life. What I'd like you to do this time is turn to your opposite side. If you turn right, turn left this time, and just swap amongst yourself, find a different partner, and then share the negative outcome system that you are currently employing. So take a couple of minutes and then swap. All right, thanks, Alistair. So thank you for sharing with each other. What I'd like to ask is maybe a couple of you now just to share with the group what your negative outcome system is. Anyone who'd like to share?
I can share. Do you want to share? I'll share. I'm going to share. Right. I'm going to bust it right. Do you want me to stand up?
Yeah, that'd be
Can you
great.
hear me?
Yes.
Check. Not to. Staff hires. Not doing proper due diligence, background checks.
Yep.
Hiring them, finding out they don't make the cut or they're not a fit. The disruption that it causes to the workplace with someone coming in and out of the company. And yeah, a bit sceptical and afraid to make like new future hires on potential suitable candidates that come through.
Yeah. And is that a pattern? I'll just quickly ask: is that a pattern that's repeating?
Yeah.
Okay, excellent.
Thank
you.
Good ones along the way.
Yeah.
If that's any consolation.
Yep. No, that's great. Thank you. Anyone else like to share?
I'm not too sure if I'm answering the question, but
It's okay.
getting rid of all toxic people.
Are there some steps that you follow?
Leave them behind and move forward and power through.
Okay, cool. Cool, thank you. All right, so we're going to, that might lead into the positive outcome system, which you might have given an example of Tutu, because that leaving behind toxic people might be something positive to yourself, right?
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So.
No, the negative part was the toxic people.
That's
that
right.
are really brilliant in your life.
Yeah. So that let's lead into the positive outcome systems. This is a system that outputs a result. It results in a consequent that provides a net benefit or growth. So I'm going to add growth in there because it may not be a monetary benefit, but you may grow through that process. So provides a net benefit or growth to you in your life or business. Now, put simply, this is where the magic really happens. Okay? Don't get me wrong. You may not see gold bars instantly. However, you can feel the progress. You can feel things moving forward. It's more a sense of what's going on. Okay? At the start, when things start to happen, you've got to keep the faith. As little achievements can be easily put aside when they are actually really big steps in the whole picture towards your goals. So having defined what a positive outcome system, it generally provides a net benefit or growth. I'd like you to take your pads out and first we'll go through an example. So here we go. So we get to work. So you might be running your own business. We get to work. We map out the 6 key lead generation activities for the week and the main actions that needs to be done and who in your team is going to do it. Delegate the work out to those the people who are going to be doing the work. You schedule daily review on the stats and have a Friday review and plan out how to improve for the following week. So it's a series of steps you're following to get that done. So it's a system, right? So what I'd like you to do now is to write down, take a couple of minutes and write down a positive outcome system that you're employing. It could be at uni, it could be at work, it could be in your family life. And Al, if you can put 2 minutes on the clock again, that'll be awesome. Excellent, thank you. Thank you, Al. So now that you've written that down, I want you to find if you haven't found a different partner, find a different partner. If not, find a partner. And just share your pos. What's the positive outcome system that you utilize in your life at the moment? And after a minute, swap. I'd like a couple of volunteers, preferably someone who hasn't volunteered before. And I know we've got a smaller audience, but someone else to volunteer and let us know what your pos is.
That's all right. I'll give you my one, Harsha. I found the last couple of months I've been getting distracted a lot by social media, Netflix and YouTube. So what I've done is this is my system to get over that, to get a positive outcome out of a negative. If I realise I've just wasted 15 or more minutes on those mediums, I'll get straight into my workout gear, no matter what situation I'm in, within reason. Grab my skipping rope. I've got a 18-minute high-intensity interval training routine. I'll do that, finish that off, quick shower, and then go about my day or whatever I've got to do with a positive mindset. And
Excellent.
stopping me getting.
How is that going now? Like, is that working? That's strategy.
It's working because it's both getting me fitter, but also it's diminished the amount of time I get stuck on social media and YouTube.
Excellent. Excellent.
Workout.
Excellent. Thank you. Anyone else?
One more. Hey.
I was just sharing with Ross about my positive outcome system is probably with the way I'm raising my kids.
Okay.
And with everything that I've learned in personal development over the years, teaching them all of those things as well. I never understood earlier on how negative I was. Someone actually told me that once in a workplace and said, yeah, you really turn all that stuff into a negative, or every time something comes out, you're really negative about it. And I'd never realised how affected I was by that. So, I'm trying to turn my kids into these little positive people, and they're not allowed to say I can't do something, or I won't do it. There's no such, like the Yoda saying, try. What is it?
There is no try.
There is no try. It's just do or do not. So that's our Star Wars mentality in our house.
Okay, excellent. And is there a set of steps you utilise or follow to do that?
Just really getting the focus on the positives and the golden rule of treating people the way they want to be treated. So I'm often asking them, would you want to be treated that way?
Okay.
Would you want to be spoken to that way? So, yeah.
Great. Thank you all for sharing. I'm going to move on to the next slide. Negative outcome systems or positive outcome systems. What's the difference? So we've explored this a little bit, but in summary, negative outcome systems are more reactive. The world's out to get you, and you create more of this as you focus on it. Positive outcome systems are more proactive. You're involved in the process and the world is on your side. You're working with the world. And you expand more of this as you focus on it. Now, there is a similarity in both of them. And Jerry, you just mentioned it. The more you focus on it, you see more of this stuff. So I'm going to ask you a question. What types of systems do you want in your life and business? POS? My preference is POS. So what if you've subconsciously created a number of NOSs in your life and you're utilizing it in your life? I won't say utilizing, you're employing them in your life. You're familiar with them, so you just keep doing them. What do? You've got the secret ingredients. So I'm going to go through these really quickly, but before I do, I want everyone to stand up. Stand up.
Oh, all right.
All right, jump up and down like 10 times. Jump up and down 10 times. All right, give each other a high five and say, I'm awake. I'm here. I'm awake. I'm ready to do more.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. So the secret ingredients. I'm going to read through these because we've got a little space of time left. So patterns. Patterns are essentially things that you notice. You can sit back down now. Sorry. Patterns are things that you essentially notice. They seem to repeat, whether it's through your own actions or external to you. However, there is one note to make about patterns. They're predictable. You'll see them, right? If you start to look around a bit, you'll see them. For example, every week, I don't know if you've noticed this, but every week I put the bin out on the road with the garbage. I come back and it's empty. I don't know who comes to pick it up, but it's empty. All I have to do is wheel it back to the house. It's very predictable. There might be an occasion where that doesn't happen and I scratch my head and wonder what happened. Habits are essentially regular things you engage in subconsciously. So you don't have to necessarily think about them. These things happen. You tend to do it on autopilot without really doing too much thinking. So for example, you brush your teeth, you have your lunch. Sometimes I don't remember having lunch, but I've had lunch, right? So you do it because you have to function. And people don't like bad breath, so you tend to brush your teeth in the morning. Feedback. It's something that happens in response to an action you take. So it could be positive or negative. in your life or business. So, for example, you put forward a proposal in your business, might get rejected. So you got some feedback. You might need to do some work on your proposal. Or you put your car for sale and it doesn't sell in the first few weeks and you're scratching your head why. So you're getting feedback from the market. Maybe you've priced it wrong. The last secret ingredient is experimentation. Now, this is where you have to try a few new things out. It does take some courage. However, as we're looking to convert a NOS into a POS, we generally need to change a habit or add a new habit. So we're going to go into this really quickly so you guys and girls can try this out for yourselves. So we looked at this at the start of the session. So we had our NOS, which was about, going to work, making money, and then gambling it away. So how do we convert that into a POS? So I've only really changed one step. I haven't, so I've added so once you get paid, you action your money management system into those different accounts. And it generally changes the flow of the other actions after that. As you can see, you're left with a feeling of abundance and you're in charge of your wealth and prosperity and you expand more of that. Now, you don't see the gambling in there, but I haven't said don't gamble, right? You can gamble as much as you want from your play account. Now, you might restrict that to about 10% of your income, but you're not gambling your whole income away. So what I'd like you to do is have a go. So I want you to get out your NOS and I want you to see the steps and change one or two steps. You might need to add a new habit or a new action in there, but I want you to try and figure that out in the next 2 minutes. I'll put this example back up so you can see it. And Al, if you can put the timer on again, that'll be great. Excellent, thank you. And thank you for writing that down. What I'd like you to do is just find any partner now, find anyone. I want you to share I don't want you to share the whole thing, just the steps you changed from your old system to the new system, and if there was any change in the flow as well. So just everyone up, maybe walk around a little bit and then find someone new, and let's have a quick partner share. Okay, great, thank you. So we're going to have a quick group share now before we wrap up. Who'd like to share? Who'd like to share what they changed in their NOS?
Oh, yeah. What did I do? Okay. The results are in. The funny thing is, I just changed one thing, and then that's needed to change. The result has sorted itself out.
Yep, and what was that? What was the change?
So the new hires, not doing the due diligence background checks, and then the follow-on negatives from that was sort of 3 or 4 steps. And then all I changed was do the due diligence background checks. Yeah. Yep. Stay close to ensure they're a good fit for the company. Refine the process of what makes a good hire and look for more of those people.
Yep. Great. Thank you, Luke. All right. So basically, what we've covered today is, and you saw for yourself how easy it is. You might need to change just one habit, or add one habit. It might mean adding it into that equation, and it just changes the flow and the dynamic completely. So a summary of what we've covered today. We've looked at systems, why we need them, the types, the 2 categories that are relative to you. We've looked at the negative outcome systems, the positive outcome systems. Negative outcome systems being more reactive. The world's out to get you, nothing goes right. And positive outcome systems are you're proactive, you're part of creating that outcome. You're co-creating it, and you realize you have a part to play and you own that part rather than avoiding it. And the secret ingredients we looked at in really turning a NOS into a POS was looking at patterns around you, looking at the world around you, paying close attention, habits, your own things that you do, the feedback that you get, and having a little bit of experimentation. And we didn't really go into the experimentation, but once you've created that plan for your POS, you need to go and try it out. you might need to tweak it a bit more. You might need to add another step in there. But at least you've got a picture of what's happening and you can logically start to manipulate that rather than, think it's all magic and not working for you. So we figured out how can you convert a NOS into a POS, requiring at least a minimum of changing or adding one habit. So with that, thank you all for joining. It was really great to meet you. Thank you, Al, for facilitating this.
No worries, and thank you, Harsha. We've got 5 minutes for questions, etc. I'll just start with a comment. I've known you for close to 7 years now, and every time I've asked you for something, you've delivered value. I'd say this is probably the most sort of profound, simple, clever thing I've seen you do. So well done. Thank you.